Alrighty YouTube, welcome back to Farmy, and finally a video that I said I was going to do months ago. That's right, we are finally installing this JEGS Bandit EFI system on the freshly installed small block 400 that we put in here last video. This should hopefully go easy, that's the plan at least. I have, I think, all the parts I need to do it. Apart from the EFI kit, we need a fuel pump that will provide that the fuel it needs. We need a fuel pressure regulator that I got locally to me. And apart from that, a couple of miscellaneous little fittings and some hose to connect it all together, and I think we should be good to go. I guess first things first, let's give you an overview on just what's in the JEGS kit. So like I said, this is the JEGS Bandit EFI system. It is a electronic throttle body, good for 550 horsepower. It's a bolt-on EFI kit that's self-tuning. You basically bolt it on, connect power to it, connect fuel to it, and it does the rest for you. This kit on JEGS website is like under $1,000 US, which is awesome. So let's see what we're working with here. Instructions, a gasket set. Here is the entire wiring harness, which is tiny. It comes with a wideband O2. This plug here, I believe, goes into your ECU. This plugs into a supplied screen. Relay for the whole system here. Main harness ground. This is your main harness power. We have controls here for fan, ignition power, and fuel pump. Tack in, and then this is what plugs into the throttle body. Map sensor, idle air controller, and throttle position. It's all built in to the throttle body itself. Then we have a coolant temp sensor and a plug for the wideband. That's it. This is simple. Then in the box, we have an adapter for the O2 sensor. We have an adapter and the coolant temp sensor. This guy here is a little mount for the screen they provide. Here is the small self-contained, sealed, mind you, ECU, so you can stick it in your firewall. There is the screen that is provided to monitor the whole system. The crowning jewel, the JEGS EFI itself. This thing looks badass. That's it. This system is incredibly simple. Let's pop the hood off this thing, get my old quadrijet carburetor off, and see where we go. All right, say your goodbyes to the old quadrijet. And now I have one perfect place for this. See ya. You don't need any of this. This is just an excessive adapter to go from I believe a square bore to a spread bore to fit that quadrijet. This gasket was brand new, so I'm gonna reuse that. I guess really the first step, we could just bolt this right on. And there we go, the JEGS EFI is now installed. Thanks for watching. Oh, if only it were that easy. I say that as if this is gonna be super difficult. This is gonna be probably the easiest thing I've ever done. First thing, I'm gonna connect this vacuum advance pod just to get out of my way. Wow, I moved my distributor a whole bunch there. That's just great. I have to check base timing again, that's fun. This guy can go on. Okay, that's kind of step one. Step two, I need to go to my fuel tank, which is underneath my box. I'm no stranger to yanking these things off every other day on my channel, it seems, so oh, I did anti-seize these. Okay, this is gonna be really easy. See, who needs a gym when you have a truck? Oh boy. There she goes, come on. Hey, there we go. Let's go change out that pump. There we go. Cool, let's go plug that guy back in. There we go. That's probably the worst part of the whole job, is changing that fuel pump. We're just gonna hope and pray that these hose clamps seal the 60 PSI this fuel pump is gonna put out. Double clamps are usually good for about that. I will leave the box off until we know for sure it doesn't leak, so that's wrapped up. You know, Farmy's now giving me the reverse Lightning McQueen ka-chow. And we can do the fuel system to the throttle body. This is gonna look a lot goofy. Adapting a factory fuel system to this modern stuff is kind of dumb. I'm gonna just leave, for the time being, my factory fuel filter sitting here. Goodbye, carbureted pressure regulator. In its place, we're going to be installing. This is a fuel pressure regulator for EFI made by Performance World. It's a little beefy and probably way too nice for the truck. It's the only one I could find locally for cheap enough, so it's gonna be a little silly. I have fuel coming in here. Sadly, the only fitting I could find to adapt it is just an AN to barb. Return will be at the bottom, and then fuel to the throttle body. We have another fitting, and that one I actually do have some proper hose ends for. So there we go. And then the back of the JEGS EFI does also use a 6 AN as well, so that makes my life very easy. Good chunk of braided line. She'll be mint. Oh, this is such a horrible looking install. Okay, there's return. Well, it won't be the prettiest fuel line, but it'll work. Go to here. Okay, that's probably as tight as we're gonna get that. Seems pretty okay. Okay. Good enough. We'll put the ugly one where you can't see it. There we go. And there we go. Okay, I thought I had a fuel pressure gauge, but apparently the only gauge I actually have in my garage is this Mastercraft air pressure gauge. It's good to 160 PSI. We're gonna put that in there and see if it works. I'm gonna put it so we can read it over here. That's the fuel system. Let's see if it seals. I'm gonna hit the fuel pump switch and see what she does. Okay, it's putting out almost 40. I don't hear any leaks in the rear. Let's see if we can crank that pressure up. Strange, I can't get it to go up or down. Okay, yeah, that dropped down a bunch. That's going up. It seems to stop right about 40 something PSI. The pump in the tank says it was rated for about 90. I'm gonna put my charger on and see if we can't get more out of that. Yeah, I can't get more than like 45 pounds out of that pump. Maybe that's all that pump is good for. I'm gonna try to run it. I don't think it's gonna be happy, but that's all I can get with that pump, and that's all I currently have. I do wanna see if it's gonna run though. This is our injector harness, map sensor, throttle position, idle air. I'm just gonna plug the coolant temp sensor in, leave it in the open air there. Ground wire, I'm just gonna alligator clip to my battery. I wonder if this doesn't need a TAC input to actually run. We'll see. Interesting. The JEGS screen was coming on when I connected this to battery power, which is curious. I thought it's supposed to turn on with key power. As you can see, my screen came up. Oh, it's touchscreen, that's cool. Oh, there's gonna be a whole setup procedure in here. Connecting key power brings the throttle body to life. I'm gonna turn the key and the fuel pump on. And then I'm gonna connect key power to the JEGS harness. Whoa, it shoots a little injector shot for like startup. Oh, that's cool. Here, I'm gonna try that again. On. Look at that, that's cool. Unless it needs an RPM signal to run, I kind of wonder if it'll just fire. That's actually kind of unexpected. I think it probably needs a TAC signal though. I wonder if it needs to know it's a V8. Initial setup, engine setup. Cylinders 8. Oh, cubic inch. We have a 400 cubic inch. Cam mild to wild. 1 to 4. Put it to a 2. Oh, there's our rev limit. Idle RPM warm. Let's fuel learn. That is set up. Okay, we'll go back. Idle. Idle warm is 750. That's probably fine. Fan I don't have hooked up. Data logging. This has fault codes. This is cool. Neat. Let's just connect key power again. That is so cool how it shoots a little shot for ignition. It doesn't know the engine's there right now, but if I crank it, it does try to fire, so there is enough fuel. It's just, it doesn't know to inject anything because it doesn't know there's an engine here. Hello. How do you take a TAC signal off an HEI distributor? Yep. Oh, okay. I haven't read the instructions for the JEGS thing yet. I'm kind of just figuring it out. I will hook up to that and I will let you know what happens. I just talked to my dad. He said the tack signal should be this one pin beside the power wire. Okay, that should be on there. Let's give this a tack signal. I could probably just connect the wire right to the distributor, but I don't even know if it's gonna work. Okay, I'm gonna crank and see if it knows I have RPM. Hey, look at that! It just needed a tack signal. Oh, that is so cool.
Crazy laugh.
I didn't think that was gonna work.
You can hear it from upstairs.
Oh my god, it's smoky in here. Okay, well, there it is. There's the JEGS EFI running on a small block 400. I started this install 2.5 hours ago and it's already running. Obviously the wiring isn't done. I need to clean that up yet. I am still concerned that the fuel pump I put in there is not putting out the 60 PSI we're supposed to have. I do have, I think, one other fuel pump that I can put in the tank, and it's just in my shed. So I'm gonna go dig that out of there and I'll be right back. Okay, here's the sending unit out of my spare fuel tank that was in my shed. It says it's a Carter fuel pump. I Googled the part number and I couldn't find any specs on it. I believe we got this out of an auto wrecker from a Spider Injection 4.3 truck. If it doesn't put out any more pressure, I'm gonna call my local parts store and see if I can get one for cheap. Otherwise, we're just gonna have to run it with what we got and hope for the best. Let's go see if this unknown Carter pump fixes our problem. And we'll hit the fuel pump switch. That's not very promising. I don't think this one's gonna work any better. Okay, I caved, I went to Napa, and I found another fuel pump. This one, in their system, says it's rated for 60 PSI. It's meant for like a 94 Chev Blazer with a 4.3 Spider injection. I've checked like 3 times, and I've even found a page that says its max pressure is supposed to be 80. So if this thing doesn't put out the pressure we need, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, there it is, round 3. New pump, came with a new hose and clamps that fit way tighter. Like I said, it says it's rated for 60 PSI. Let's hope for the best. Okay, sending units back in the tank. I'm gonna set you guys up here. Fuel pump on now. Okay, we got more. Oh yeah, that's what we want right there. Come on. There we go, 60 pounds. Now we can lock that pressure regulator. There we go. Ooh, 80 PSI. Nice. Actually, wow. This fuel system holds 80 PSI. That's awesome. It took 3 fuel pumps and a little bit of screwing around, but we finally have the fuel pressure we need. I'm gonna sort out the wiring harness and then we will finish this thing up. I'm gonna briefly disconnect the wiring harness. Wiring harness is off so we can start from scratch there. I'm gonna stick the box back on while I'm looking at it. Okay, I need to find out how I want to mount this. Maybe we should connect this guy first. My favorite thing about this harness is everything is just contained in the throttle body. It's simple. I'm gonna take my temp sensor and the adapter, screw them, seal them together, and I'm gonna try to get this in the front plug of my intake here. Should be fine. The temp wire can get plugged into that. And I'm thinking, how can we run this? Just like that, actually. That works pretty good. And my tack wire, I can run over to the distributor. Let's do it like that. One wire here for the distributor, probably make reach. Okay, tack is plugged into this to the distributor. The ECU plug. Where do I want to put this? Yeah, look at that. I wanted to put a coolant reservoir over here, but a good spot for the ECU. That will work perfectly. We can run the wires for the screen underneath into the cab. There we go, ECU mounted. The wire for the screen, there's a hole in the firewall from the factory fuel injection. We're gonna put that through. The screen mount's not gonna be super permanent. I just kind of stuck it up there for the time being. The wire is kind of tucked up underneath this little relay. Probably just mount up here. Okay, main power. I can probably just run this to the stud I had it on before. A direct feed right from the battery and the alternator. It's not a very heavy gauge wire, so I don't think it really needs more than that.
Oh yeah, that makes relationships a bit rocky.
There we go. That stays hidden very nicely. That just leaves us ground. I'm honestly just gonna put the ground to the chassis. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna send my key wire. That I'll just run in the cab somewhere over to the fuse block where we can get ignition power. I thought I had a GM plug to go to the fuse block, but I don't, so I have ignition power coming from the fuse box to show that it works with the truck. If we hit the key, we should hear the relays click and the fuel inject like we did before. Does sound like it's working. Okay, it is injecting fuel, that's good. I still need to hook the wideband up. I'm just gonna crank it to make sure it fires. Okay, that's a win. Okay, the wire for my wideband we're gonna stick around with everything else. Should keep it pretty much out of the way. And I'm gonna leave the plug just here for now while I crawl underneath and drill that into the exhaust. The wideband sensor installation is incredibly simple. They give you, bang, this piece here. This is a clamp-on O2 bung with a gasket. Then you clamp it on over a hole that you drill in the pipe and you're good to go. All right, there we go. That is the last piece of the puzzle. I really didn't go too crazy with the install of that O2. I just kind of found a spot it works and clamped it on much like that. And then the wire runs up this way, up the firewall, into the plug. So I think that'll work. Now in terms of installation, this is pretty much done. We've got everything hooked up where it needs to be. The only thing I don't know what to do for is the throttle linkage. I don't know how to bolt it onto this. Really, for the time being, I can just zip tie this on here. Let's go check that screen. Key on. Initial setup, engine setup. 8 cylinders. We have a 400 small block. Cam setting I did look into. It's just based on how much idle vacuum you have, so we'll just leave that where it is. Warm idle 750. Rev limit. Really 6 is probably fine. That should be good. Dashboard. Okay, I think we're ready to go. First step, key on. Here we go. Okay, there we go. We got 750 idle, idling at 13 AFR, 11 inches of mercury. That's pretty good. God, this sounds rowdy. I gotta give you a clip of the exhaust though. That is awesome. That is so cool. That is so cool. Okay, I think we're good. Well, that's cool. That's the entire JEGS EFI install completely done. I still have a little bit of tinkering to do with it, I guess, here and there, like the throttle cable and just getting experience with the system as to how it tunes and how it works. But it's installed, it runs, it sounds awesome. I couldn't be happier. And aside from the struggles with the fuel pump, really, that was just extremely straightforward. Bolted on, hooked it up to everything it needed to be, and it worked. I am so excited to get this thing on the road and actually driving. Hell yeah. Oh, that's cool. That is really cool. I think that's gonna be it for me today though. I hope you guys enjoyed the install process of this. I hope you consider picking one up for yourself, because really, it's a bolt-on electric carb. It's one of the cheapest ones on the market, and it's running a small block 400 right out of the box. Like, I couldn't ask for more. Now that the EFI is all installed, the next thing I'm gonna be getting to on the project is the manual trans install. I ordered the parts for it. They should be here soon enough, and then we're gonna get that going. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you stay tuned for what's coming. Thanks for watching.